Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Jordan, or the Fear Raiser, and here today I am bringing you, yet again, another awkward story. And this story is special today, not for the story itself, but I thought I would bring it to your attention that this story marks the 50th story I've ever told you guys. That's 50 stories, guys. That is a lot of freaking stories to remember, but luckily I have a great memory. I actually don't know how I even remember all these stories, but they're real, they're true. I know a lot of people are like, Jordan, man, are you sure these are real, man? It's a lot of stories. They are all 100% real. I promise to you guys, cross my heart, they're all real. That's why there's been a bit of a weight on them, but because I do my best to remember the stories that I have from the past. But before I get more into this story, because this story, guys, is quite an uncomfortable experience that I had, I thought I would let you all know what server I'm on. I'm on a server called woodycraft.net. If you've been watching a few of my videos recently, I've been jumping around on here. It's actually a wicked server. I like to also let you guys know it's got really cool factions and PvP game modes, and it's got a lot more. It's got like Halo. In this video specifically, I'm actually on the server playing, I think it's Blocks versus Zombies. You know, it's kind of like Plants versus Zombies, but I actually got super intensely into the game. I actually ended up playing it for like 35 minutes. So I definitely think you should check the server out. It's actually one of the top rated servers out there. So you should definitely give it a check out, and hopefully you guys enjoy the server and the video. So what else do I really need to say to you guys before we get into the story? Like some of you might not know, I also like to feature the top 3 stories from the previous awkward story that I had. So those are gonna go up right now. So guys, if you're watching this now, let me know an awkward story you've had in the past, and it could get featured in the next awkward story, which is fun. You know, it's a really cool way to interact with you guys and have your story show up to everybody. So all right, guys, with that being said, let's get into this awkward story. So I made sure and double checked through my playlist, because I have a lot of these stories now, 50, to make sure this wasn't a repeat. And as I was driving home, you know, as Halloween recently passed, today it kind of just clicked into my mind about a story that I had from when I used to actually work at a Halloween store. And this was about 2011, I think, or like 2012. And it was quite an uncomfortable situation. So essentially what happened was, it was the first time I ever worked in a Halloween store, which was pretty cool, you know. The staff was cool. They were. You know, I remember the boss's name was Bob, and he was a cool guy as well. It was a really fun time. It really was. Except there was one problem. Okay? The boss's wife would also work at this store, and she was not the nicest woman. But that's not really important for this story. That could be another story for another time. But so I just figured I'd fill in the details. So essentially, you know, this job's pretty cool. It's kind of stress-free. And it was like this until, you know, the early month into October. Yeah. The early few days of October is when things started to pick up, because obviously Halloween's around the corner. You know, you're gonna get a lot of customers, you know, come in, look for those Halloween costumes, you know, just be a sexy cop, you know, a sexy fireman, because those are scary. So yeah, that was cool and swell, but there was one issue this Halloween store had, okay? And like a lot of stores, not just Halloween stores, there was a lot of petty thefts. A lot of, you know, people taking stuff, you know, just sliding it in their pockets or in their book bag. You know, they're like, oh man, look at this sexy mummy thing. I can't afford this, so I'm just gonna steal it. Yeah, it was weird. Anyways, you get the picture. So there's a lot of petty thefts, and as I worked there, I actually, I had a few roles. I served people at the cash, but mainly I was like security, in a way. I was stock and security. So there was these 2 guys, okay? Really sketchy looking guys. One of them was in a wheelchair. And let me explain this a little further before I start, because I know a few of you might be giving me some weird judgy faces from saying that. So there's these two sketchy looking guys, okay? There's this guy pushing the other guy in the wheelchair into the store, you know? And at first, they seemed cool. They looked a little sketchy. You know, I can't really describe the way they looked. They just did. You know how you get a feeling about some people? Just, it looked really weird. Well, at least the guy pushing the dude in the wheelchair was much sketchier looking. Anyways, so I noticed that these guys kept, you know, going to the front counter and looking at the contacts that we had. You know those Halloween contact lenses that you can get nowadays for Halloween? Yeah, they kept looking at those. And, you know, they would come in a lot. They came in probably 3 times a week to look at them. And that was all they'd look at. They would just look over the counter. And if you ask them what they want, you know, they're just like, oh, nothing, you know, just looking at those contacts, you know, they're pretty cool. But then one day, you know, I was working, you know, and, you know, I was just stocking some shelves. And then, out of nowhere, I see the dude pushing the guy in the wheelchair, booted across the store. And one of the people I worked with was chasing after them. And it was crazy because all I heard was screaming and running. The guy had ran out the front door, and so did one of the workers chasing him. And they were, you know, they ran up the road a bit. And the person was just about to get him. And then he turned around and he said something. He like cursed his mouth off. Was like, here, take it or something. Tossed them at the person chasing him and ran off, leaving his friend in the wheelchair behind in the store. So, you know, that was pretty hilarious. You know what? I shouldn't say hilarious. I thought this is a funny story in a sense. It wasn't funny at the time. We go back, and the guy in the wheelchair had also taken some as well. They were both caught in the act. But obviously the guy ran off with the contact lenses. And the dude in the wheelchair, you know, I kind of felt bad for the guy, but I really didn't know who to really believe. You know, he was there like crying, saying, oh, he made me do it, he made me do it. Stuff like that. It was, you know, I really don't know. But I'll tell you this, it was extremely uncomfortable. And it was just bad. Like, this dude left his, well, I'm assuming it was his friend in the store after stealing that. And he's in a wheelchair, man. He pushed him in there. Like, it was... All I could really do was, like, shake my head. I didn't really think this was a funny... it's funny looking back, in a sense. Because, like, the dude in the... Like, you know, they were both stealing. Either way, it's like, wow, like, don't do that. But it was sad as well. Because, like, the guy, like... He left his friend there in the wheelchair. And either way, guys, the police dealt with them after. I don't think there was any charges. Either way, you know, you kind of feel bad for the guy in the wheelchair, even if he tried to steal the stuff. But it was really awkward because I was just there the whole time watching this. And, you know, I was kind of involved because I saw it happen. And the dude was just crying there. This was like a man, too. This wasn't like a kid. So it was just, like, awkward. It was really awkward. And it was just an uncomfortable situation. But with that being said, though, guys, that is my awkward story for today. I hope you guys did enjoy this awkward story. If you did, you should totally drop a like on the video. And, of course, don't forget to leave your comments, your awkward stories, I should say, in the comment section below. And who knows, it could get featured in the next awkward story. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.